Hello, my name is LaMarque Ward. I'm going to take a few minutes to share my personal testimony about my faith, my life, and my journey to Christ, and what the Lord is using me to do today. I'm a normal guy, right? I grew up in the inner city, down in the South Cumminsville area. I grew up doing what everybody else did in the community in which I grew up with. But I had a dream. My dream was to play basketball in college and professionally, and I worked extremely hard to do that, but I also made those other decisions. And those decisions, uh, you know, they bring consequences. So those decisions look like, and in essence, it was a life full of sin. Full of sin. I was promiscuous at a young age. I became a teenage dad. Wasn't equipped academically. All of those circumstances weren't my fault, but um, they presented challenges to me. So I finished high school with the 1.9 GPA, struggled through all of that my senior year at high school. I lived on my own so I can transfer schools because I was 18. I worked at Frisch's at midnight, played basketball in high schools, did my homework on my lunch breaks, and now when I'm out talking, kids say, "Man, how did you do that?" I'm like, nobody ever told me it was too hard. So I worked through it all, earned a scholarship to a community college in Texas, and there God continued, to call me. People began to prophesy to me and encourage me to bubble over with encouragement about how the Lord would use me and could use me one day, and so the journey began. I struggled in the church through sin and in sin, all through those years. I mean, the college years were just a great challenge. And at the end of the day, it even caused me to struggle with depression. I didn't know it was depression at the time, but now looking back, I was depressed because I wanted to do right, but I had already had patterns in play that I really didn't know how to unwind yet. So I was going to church on Sundays in college and still struggling with the nightlife as a college basketball player and athlete. Uh, so it was such a struggle for me. Uh, Personally, I just didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know who could I talk to dealing with the shame, the whole 9 yards. And so as I got through college, I traveled professionally, played all over the world, and was constantly trying to find a balance between my own personal struggles, depression, and following Jesus. And so now, um, to God be the glory. After I've tried to take my life a couple times, I remember the last time um, the nurse, I swallowed the charcoal, she said, the man last night didn't make it. The pills were already in his system. And so I swallowed the charcoal and just gave it to God and literally went to sleep. And I woke up and I never looked back. And so now today, I'm a pastor of an inner city ministry right in the community where I grew up at, full time. Um, I'm an author of 4 books. One of them was featured in NFL, My Cleats, My Cause. And Carlos Dunlap took with him on a tour throughout his games, anti-bullying book tour when he was with the Bengals. Um, I'm the founder of Dream Builders University. I'm able to operate in business and ministry and still be effective and impactful for the glory of God. And every day I get to wake up and pour into humanity with the gifts, talents, and treasures that I have. And so if there's anything that I want to leave you with is, it's never too much for God. I thought being a teen dad was too much. I thought that not being intelligent, as smart as everybody else in my younger years, was too much. The shame from not just being a teen dad, but having several kids and not, being in a situation or circumstance that I would love to put my children in, and then have to work backwards to right what was not right, and it was just a mess. And God continued to show up. And the more I surrendered to him, the more he would reveal to me. And I tell people at my church, there's a whole lot of ifs, mights, and maybes in the Bible. There's a whole lot. And so there are things, habits, behaviors, patterns that are linked to blessings as well. And so I realized that the closer I got to Jesus, the more I surrendered my life, the more that I aligned intrinsically, right, from a heart position, the subconscious mind, the more I made the decision to surrender these things to him with a habit that aligned with his word, he began to allow me to walk in favor. And favor is not fair. Favor is not fair. I'll share this with you because I just don't know where you are, right? So I'm going to give you a little bit more as I prepare to close. There was one thing me and my wife used to do back in the day, which a lot of people do, right? Some people don't think it's wrong. We used to buy food stamps from people who would sell food stamps. We were in like 22. We weren't even married yet, so we were living in sin. And but we knew we loved each other, and we did want to honor God, but we didn't have the courage to get the order right with the whole system. And so I went to my wife. The Lord had convicted my heart, and I said, "Sweetie, this isn't right. Like, if we got caught, this is, you could go to jail for this." And I don't have peace about it, I told my wife. And my wife, she agreed with me, and we took it to the Lord. We quit purchasing food stamps from people who were selling their food stamps for cash. And immediately the next month, my wife got a promotion at her job, a promotion that on paper she wasn't even qualified for. And we've never not been able to purchase groceries again for our family after that moment. That was a defining moment. And that was an opportunity for us to trust God, but also God is trying to prove himself to us too. But when we don't trust him with those areas, he can't prove himself to us because there's not a moment, like you have to invite him in to prove himself to you. So that was just one little space, right? And then you start in the small areas. That may seem, in the grand scheme of things, that seemed like a big area, but really that was just a small area. And then with that small area, they just continued to snowball. And now we just trust God. Like it's nothing too big. We just trust God, right? And as things continue to come over and over the years, we already had enough relational experience trusting God. So it's not foreign for us to have a difficult situation that we don't have to put on social media because we already had enough experience trusting God. So we just know God is with us. And it may not happen in the time frame in which we want it, but we know God is with us. So, hey, listen, I'm Pastor LaMarque Ward. If you want to talk to me, if you have questions for me about my story, it's much more to it. But I'll say this. If he can change me, he can change that doorknob in your room, in your office. And if he can use me, he can use that doorknob. So wherever you are at on the faith board, don't give up because God is with you as well. God bless you.